DOTE.
So welcome to a video tutorial about the new timeline in DOTE 2.0. And what we see here is a standard layout. If you go to panels and layouts and choose standard, a default layout, then you get a timeline as we see here, and then a video in the media player panel, and then a transcript, and then we've got the play controls up here. So what we're going to focus on is this part here, which is the timeline. And the timeline, you can do a number of things with it. You can resize it, for example. The bottom of it is here. If I just drag down, you can see I can get a larger waveform. I could also drag here, which will drag the transcript panel across, and you can get a longer timeline panel. So you can adjust it. Also, you can move it around. So it's currently all positions are locked. If I unlock up here in the ribbon bar, things become movable, and you see we get a little idea of a tab on an extended with a maximized shrink icon. So I could just, as you see, I've got a hand here when I move over this bar that's attached to the timeline, and I could move it and drag it. For example, drag it down and say I want it at the bottom. If I keep going, you'll see a grey bar appear down here. If I let go, and now I've put it at the bottom. And you might prefer to have your timeline at the bottom here or somewhere else. You can make it run across the whole length. I'm just going to put it back to where it was before, which was roughly here, and make them not movable. After I've just shown you, if you want to just see the timeline for some reason, you can expand it, maximize it, so you're really focused on the timeline. There could be some reason for that. And then if you press again on the shrink button, then you go back to where you were, and it remembers exactly where it was. I'm going to hide the extra so we get a bit more space to show it. That just hides in the locking and movable so that you can move things around, and when you're happy, just lock them down again. So let's just focus on the timeline now, and you see you've got a timeline with a waveform, and if you've imported in the media manager, we've got all of these sources possible here. There's a waveform is generated automatically, and you can have a look here and regenerate the waveform if there's any problem. You might need to have FFmpeg installed, which should be done automatically now in 2.0. It generates hopefully a waveform for you. Now, there can be some reason why with certain types of video files, if they're extremely high resolution, that you won't get a waveform, but those problems we point out in the help guide. There's nothing much we can do about that. It's best to transcode those so that they're in a format that DOTE really likes and can make into a waveform. So we see the whole waveform, and the length of this event for all of those media sources that we just saw is start time. We're currently at 00, and it's 3 minutes 43 seconds long, the total length. So you can get some idea. If I just click somewhere here, you see the playhead moves. We're currently at a different place in the event at 5.2 seconds. Nothing is highlighted, we'll see that in a moment, but the length is still the same. So no matter where I go, you'll see it will jump around the video according to what we want to show. Then I should show you all of the waveform there. I was zoomed in a little bit. Then you can see they're currently at 1 minute 43.2 seconds. So I'm just going to scroll up here and then click on this sync code here to jump right back to the very beginning. That's the very beginning, and we see we're at the beginning of the transcript. We're currently showing both sync codes and video cues. I could hide the video cues if I wished, because maybe you weren't using them, because you don't need to do any sort of cinematic representation of your video or video sources, zooming in, panning, etc. And you could hide even the sync codes so that we just have a waveform if you just want to see a waveform. So and you can of course just show the video cues if you're working on that. We'll just look at the sync codes for the moment. And before we do that, there's just some other information here. As you saw, we could press on these parts here to show or hide certain information about sync coding and video cues. We also have this part of the panel that tells what sort of waveform to show. And you may have noticed as we jumped around, then the waveform is changing. That's because it's a different camera source or different audio source from a media file, because we have 6 different possibilities. And given we're using video cues, we're jumping around in different media all the time. You may just have one camera, one source, and you don't want to do anything special. Then this doesn't really matter. Just follow lowest media panel. We'll say this media panel, it will this waveform will follow whatever is showing here. Whatever is currently assigned here will show the waveform here. You might want to say, no, I always want to see media panel 1 if you've got several media panels open, or you might want to say, I only want to see this one. And that means you'll only see that waveform no matter what happens with the media player 1 or whatever video is showing. That's the same for the audio source. Do you want to hear always what's showing here? You might want to watch something from one angle, but hear from another, say a special microphone. This is a microphone that's actually on this woman here who's running back and forth. We could say, well, no, we only want to hear that audio. And in fact, let's just take a look at that. That's the audio that's recorded on the mic she's wearing. So we could say we only want to see that no matter where we jump around. You see, we're only going to hear mostly her voice because it's picking up her voice. Okay, so if we just go back to follow the lowest media panel, which is currently number 1, that's the lowest number that we see, then we get this waveform here. So I'm going to jump back again to the beginning, and this is the beginning. And then say, what about sync codes? Because sync codes allow you to sync lines in your transcript to specific parts of the video as it's playing, or the audio. And you can see we have a bunch here, but they're really dense. You see this is showing you the whole transcript and the whole event. So you might want to zoom in, and you can do that with either 2 fingers on a touchpad, depending on your system, whether it's Mac or Windows, what computer. Maybe you have a mouse with a scroll wheel, and you can just zoom in. And see, I'm scrolling in here with my zoom wheel on a mouse, and I can zoom in, and only get it also, because I've zoomed in, you get a scroll bar. So I can scroll through the transcript by clicking and dragging. And we're currently at the beginning. If I go to the beginning, you'll see there's the playhead there. Let's say the playhead is here. So I can move. As soon as I start playing, you'll see the playhead
3, 2, 1, go.
Is moving. And you might want to zoom in a fair amount, find where you are, and say, right, that's enough for me. See, we're jumping there because we're following lowest media panel. So we can hear her. There's a camera here on the table. And there we hear a researcher who's just near where she is. So you can see the sync codes now are much more separated. And that allows us to click on those and jump around in the transcript. You'll see we're jumping around here to where he's about to come, almost to say that. We can jump anywhere and then zoom in and out as we wish. So if we do that, we'll see, let's say we jump to this sync code. You'll see it's where she is talking to herself while she's trying to figure out how the Lego blocks are built, so she can run back and tell the other group how to rebuild it. So you can see here, if I zoom in, then there's some sync codes around that, but there's nothing in the middle. So if we want to add, using the timeline, because we can add them over here, then we're currently at this point. Let's say if line 77, if I click there, then we want to add a sync code here, and let's say it's somewhere in here. Then what we can do is just click to where we want it. Let's say we want it here for some reason. I'm just going to create one and then delete it just as an example. And then you can see if we go over here, we can add a sync code. If I press, we get a sync code there, and there you saw one appear at line 77. So that sync code is now tied to that point, and so we can jump around and jump back to that point. So that allows you to do it from here, as well as doing it from the editor. So take a look at the editor panel for the transcription. Then you can see how to do that with the whole paraphernalia of the editor panel. You can also do range sync codes. So what I'm going to do is just delete that one, so I can do it from here or do it from here. If I select it, which it's selected, you can see the delete is highlighted, and then I've deleted it. It's deleted from line 77. Now what you can also do is do a selection. If I press shift and drag, you see I get a selection. That allows me to loop, for example, and there's a looping hip here which allows to loop and loop and round, or just do it once. I can deselect by pressing this button or using the shortcut here. So that loop there, I can actually make a new thing called a ranged sync code. So that will give us some sort of range, and if I click that one, you'll see at 77 it's now put a different icon. You can actually do it from up here in the editor as well, but we've just done it from the timeline. And that now you see has a different icon down here. It says it's a range from here to here. That allows you to quickly, if I go here or I go back, it will set me up immediately with that. Well, I can deselect first, and then you'll see that when I go there, it will set me up with something to loop, because I might want to loop that. I've already prepared it. I can see here in the editor that it's a ranged sync code with a duration, and of course it cannot go before the previous sync code or after the next sync code. It has to be somewhere in between. So it can't be longer, because then that would make it disruptive for the chronology of the timeline. And as I've selected it right now, I can also delete it. So those are the possibilities, adding just a punctual one which says at this point connect it to a line, and then the arranged one says connect it at this line to a range, and that can be very useful, for example, if you have a time period you want to, or every turn of speech or interaction or action you want to mark off exactly how long it lasts, then you can do that. This is a new feature in 2.0. So what I'm going to do is, this is selected, just delete that. So we're back to where we were. I don't want to add anything that's actually not correct. I was just for demonstration. So what we've done there is a selection. If I play now, you'll see it will loop.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
So you see that's looping. I can deselect up here. So that's how you can select in the timeline, zoom in and out, scroll up and down. And as you play, you'll see it will automatically scroll the waveform for you. And it just switched to a new waveform because we're switching again to a new camera. So you can see each waveform is quite different according to the camera or microphone. Of course, as we've seen before, you can get out of that and just say I only want to see one source or only hear one audio. Okay, so that's the basic timeline in terms of sync codes. In terms of video cues, if I click that on, you'll see now we have some video cues, and those actually change. What I'm doing is that's changing the source we're playing here, or it's zooming in and out. And you can see some of them have a tail there, and that tail means that there's some action over a period of time. So if I click on this one, you'll see that's at this point where we're looking at a camera source statically. It's the same camera source up until that point. Oh, it's a switch to this camera source at that point. And then what's going to happen as we play, it starts moving with her to track with her as she crosses the room. And that is what this one here is. It's showing you that there's something which is doing some sort of movement of the camera, a pan or a zoom. And there's another one here and another one here. That's a new feature showing video cues and the two types of video cues. If I click on that one there, then if I look at this over here, I can delete it, or I can look at features of it. So if I just click on this button, I can edit. And there we see it's a smooth transition of 2 seconds. So it starts 2 seconds before that, and it achieves the pan. This is, in this case, it's a pan, not a zoom, for over that 2 seconds. So it's a smooth movement. And that's using Video Player 1. You can use the media player panels to change this sort of thing and edit them. This is just showing you. I'm not going to go into that. Take a look at the video cues, video tutorial or help guide to see more information about that. The thing is to notice on the timeline, this is where you pick up video cues and you can edit them or delete them. So if you want to add one, you'll see it's a plus sign. We don't have one here. If I click on one, it's an edit. So here, if I wanted to have one, I wanted to change something here, I may have to, let's say I wanted to turn this to another direction. Let's say I wanted to look more over here. Then you can see I could actually edit a previous cue, this cue here, and then save it. So that's something that you can do. But see more about that in the video tutorial for video cues. I'm going to stop that and go back to where we were. And if I want to add one, then I could add here from the media player panel, and I could have set it up, for example, under a different viewport, and then decided which camera, what view I want to see. And then when I add, notice here, it'll say, well, we're going to take from this one here, this particular field of view, a pan and a tilt, and maybe we want to have a smooth movement. That's not really suitable for moving between cameras. You can't really have a smooth transition from one camera to another. You just have a jump cut, so we would choose jump cut there. So that's how you add one. I'm just going to not do that right now. And the way you access the video cues is from the panel, a timeline panel. If it's hidden, you've got to remember to press the button to show the details. Okay, so that's video cues. It might be that you actually want to have two timelines. It's quite useful sometimes. And if you go to panels and layouts, you'll see you can have two wide timelines or just a very wide timeline. I could click that. You see we've got a very nice wide timeline because there's a lot of space, but we've still got the video and transcript. I could also choose two wide timelines. And there we've got one at the top and one at the bottom, because let's say we're focusing on sync codes. And down here, we've got this one turned off. We've got video cues only. So this could be for monitoring video cues, and that one we can independently zoom in. So I could zoom right in for some reason, and then if I play, you'll see it will jump to the right point. And this one up here we could leave open as running across the whole length of the clip, so that we have the complete 3 minutes 43 seconds visible. We're not zoomed in at all, as you can see. We're zoomed out completely. This is zooming in, now zoomed out. And as we play, notice the playhead down here is moving much faster because it's showing what's happening at a much more detail. And up here we can see where we are generally in the whole video cue. And as notice we get a little indication where it is in the video. It's the same place as where it is here because we're not zoomed. As soon as we zoom, you'll see this shows us where we are in the whole video, and this line shows us where we are within the space here. So we're currently tracking across. This is where we are in the complete video. And down here you can see it's the same. Here we are in the complete video. We get some idea we're about 1/3 of the way through. Same up here. And then down here we are currently at this exact point in a much smaller space of a length of time. So this is very useful for having multiple views open, one focusing maybe on sync codes, one on video cues, and you could even add a third one if you wish. And if you go into the add new panel, you can say timeline waveform. I want to have a new one that will show me, let's say, both of them, and you can choose what you want and then insert. If you just click, you see we get another one. So we've got and that's actually including at the bottom. It's a little bit, if I want to make that a little bit smaller, that could be your universal one. And then you could, if I go up here to this one, I could actually zoom in here too. So I could have a general view at the bottom and then two more detailed views of sync codes and video cues. This is showing both. Or if you just want to see the general view, then turn them all off and you've got a general view at the bottom. So we've now got three different timelines, different zooming ratios showing different types of information. So that's a more special case. It might be you wish to do that. It gives you a lot less space for other things. Of course you could say, well, I actually don't want these to be so big, and if I do this, okay, that would give you a little more space for what you need. So it's a bunch of choices there, which give you from these standard ones. And then you can also save this current layout and give it a name, and then you can always jump back to this if you need it. So that's the timeline, showing some of the basics of what a timeline does, and then some of the more complex, sophisticated uses you can make of it. So we'll stop there with the video on the timeline.